Canine Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Greubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists.
It's Canine Detection Collaborative.
Hi, everybody. I'm Robin Greubel, and I am here with my stupendous co-host, Stacy Barnett.
Hello.
And we have a super awesome special guest today, Katelyn Graham from Katalyst Kennels.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me on.
We are super excited. We just did the whole, oh my God, this is everything we're talking about, and we don't quite know how we're going to squish it in. So...
Yeah, we were going through that and I'm like, whoa, that's a lot.
That's a lot to get in an hour.
I mean, it's going to be great.
But,
Notes version. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Kate, why don't we allow you to kind of introduce what you do, and then we have a plethora of questions. So, yeah, tell us about Katalyst Kennels and what you do.
Cool. My name is Kate Graham. So I own Katalyst Kennels. We have kind of two sides of the business. So on our working dog side of the business, we breed, raise, and train Labrador Retrievers. We have a small breeding program, typically for single purpose detection tasks. So we have dogs doing all kinds of jobs from narcotics, explosives, person-born explosives, accelerant, HR, and a whole host of other electronics now, a whole host of other things. And so we focus primarily on young dog development. We put a lot of time and care into our breeding program, raising those puppies from day 0 all the way up until typically 12 to 18 months. Most of those dogs we are selling as green dogs. So we are just working through general development, then figuring out what task that dog will be best suited for and placing them out with agencies. Throughout that process, we have a couple different contracts and programs that we're involved in. And so the biggest one with that is Domestic Breeding Initiative, which is a program under Department of Homeland Security under their Science and Technology Division. Johns Hopkins University, their Applied Physics Lab, is our research partner on that. And so through that program, we keep an entire litter of puppies for about 12 months, complete all of their development as green dogs. And then those dogs are procured off to various federal and some state agencies. And throughout that time, they contribute to different research projects, different data collection things as they develop and grow up. So that is our working dog side of the business. On our working dog side of the business, I have 3 full-time trainers in addition to myself. And we work to be getting those dogs out, worked, all of that on a daily basis there. And so typically on a string, we have anywhere from 12 to 20 dogs that we're raising and in development at any given time. And then our business also has a pet side to it. So we have a boarding kennel. So we have about 40 runs that we do pet boarding. We do some specialized behavioral boarding. And then we also have a day school program. So instead of a typical dog daycare, we do a smaller scale, more individualized focused training-based day school program. And so I have some trainers that work on that. And that's a huge advent to us as the working dog side, where we have a very reliable, profitable, steady stream of income coming in from that pet side of the business. So that is the kind of overview of Katalyst Kennels as a whole. That keeps me busy 90% of my life. In addition to that, I do compete with my own dogs as time allows in a few different sports. So I compete in scent work. We've done hunt tests. I do competitive, so tracking, competition obedience, rally. I have done agility before, but I haven't titled a dog in that in a few years. So I do that. And then I have a HR dog that I work, who we work on certain federal cases that way. So that's the general overview of what goes on in life.
All the things.
Word.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of sitting around time.
Yeah, you're kind of sitting around
doing nothing.
All the time. That's it. That's life.
Sounds like it, right?
Absolutely.
How many staff do you have helping you out?
We have a staff of 12 right now.
Okay.
So we're at 12, and that's down a little bit from our summer staff. So in the summer, we bring on a little bit more just because the boarding business and all of that is a little bit busier through the summer. And now we just went through that kind of back to school flush. So we are down to what we consider a lower staffing right now. So we're at 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and where are you located?
We're in Connecticut. So we are lovely located in the Northeast. So we're in a little town called Litchfield, which very grateful to have a property where we have 20 acres with the kennel. We back up to a huge amount of open property and land trust, which is great for being able to hike the dogs daily,
fabulous.
which is so nice for them. And so, but also a nice area close to New York and Boston where we do pull in and have a very strong kind of pet clientele that works very reliably.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I'm like,
There's always stuff going.
Yeah. Gosh, you're actually the reason why I have my dog Brava, which is really kind of.
I know, so long ago now.
I know.
That's
She's
fun.
she's like 8.5 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So way back when I was on a list for Taboo's litter,
Yes. Who is now?
we were having some, I know there were some issues or whatever with.
Yep. We missed a breeding. I think we missed a breeding, then skipped a heat cycle because I was working her on a project that I really prioritized working her on over breeding her on at that point. Now she's 12 and laying at my feet here as we do that. So yeah.
Fabulous dog. And then ended up, like, oh, hey, here's June Kaywood. She's got
Absolutely.
a ground. And I ended up with Brava. And so I feel like I've kind of known you for a little while. And
Yeah.
your breeding program has just
It's
off.
Which is awesome. So, and it's one of those things for us that we always look at as the breeding program goes, maintaining a really high amount of quality over any type of quantity. And the demand for green labs is huge. We could never come close to meeting that demand. That's not our goal. Goal is much more so to produce high quality dogs and try to produce, of the small amount of litters we have. Typically when we have litters, they overlap. So like right now we have 2. But then
that's the way
we haven't had. Yeah, it's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But that's how it
So
goes.
for some of our listeners who may not be familiar with it, when you talk about green labs or green dogs, what do you mean by a green dog?
Yeah. So a green dog to me, and the definition definitely varies between different cultures and kind of disciplines. A green dog is a dog who is behaviorally and health-wise appropriate to be able to enter the field of single-purpose detection, and a dog that is ready and prepared to be able to go into an academy or class where it will be kind of finished through its training, paired with a handler and finished. We keep our green dogs. We do not put them on any odor, so they have not been taught or imprinted any formal odors, but they have had extensive development on hunting and search skills, a ton of environmental exposure. That's probably one of the biggest pieces. Just general lifestyle training management pieces. And then they are essentially ready to go on odor, but just not put on an odor yet.
And where did you go to school? Because, that's one of those things that it's been really interesting, because I know you and I have these discussions all the time about interns, and I get calls. I want to be a canine handler. Where do I go to school to do that? And it's like, oh my gosh. Okay.
That is so fun, because I love this piece of it, because we do use interns regularly, and then I taught for a little while. And so for me, I was not going to go to college. I was very lucky to grow up in an environment and community where dog sports are very big in my area. There's a lot of resources for dog sports in my area. So from the time I was about 10, I had actually I had an American foxhound at that point in time who I was training as a pet, and then got roped into rally and agility. And so I competed with him. I mean, from a very young age, like middle school and up. And then that blossomed into, while I was in high school, I was showing dogs and conformation, obedience, rally, a few other things, spending almost all of my weekends at dog shows. And so when I was looking the college route, there was nothing that interested me a ton. I knew I wanted to do something with dogs. I didn't really see how college could get me that path, because I didn't want to be a vet. And so I was just going to go off and actually go the handling route and stay in conformation, and probably just go try to be a handler. And my mother tried very hard to convince me to go to school, and succeeded. And so I went for a tour of SUNY Cobleskill. This is well before they had a real canine program. And they had a professor there, Doc McKenzie. So Steve McKenzie, who is a huge mentor and influence of mine. And so upon meeting Steve at that program, he kind of took a tour and he walked me around. He's like, look, you can do dog stuff here. Like, we can make this happen and we can make it be what you want it to be. And so I ended up enrolling in Cobleskill, went there, originally went in for an associate's program, was finishing up my associates. And Doc came and said, okay, what can we do to get you into a bachelor's program? Which at that point was just an animal science bachelor's. It did not have a canine concentration or was not canine specific. And I said, look, I really would like to have more hands-on dog experience, and not sure I'm going to get that in college. So I might go off and start doing that myself. And he said, no. He said, the world needs more green dogs. The world needs more labs. And I credit him for sending me down that path, because prior to that, I did not have labs. I did not like labs. I liked my other sporty breeds. I liked my Malinois. I had a really nice flashy golden for obedience. I was not a lab person. And Doc was probably much smarter than we all realized at the time, and said, no. He said, labs are the direction everything is going. People are going to need good labs. Departments are going to want good labs. He said, I can teach you how to raise those. And so that calmed me into staying. I ended up getting an off-campus apartment on a sheep farm that had a small kennel attached to it, where I begged and pleaded with them, and they let me keep some dogs. So in addition to my normal college education, Doc assisted me in selecting, and I saved up and borrowed money from people and bought a few Labrador puppies, and we started raising those. And he taught me how to raise those up to be green dogs. And so had all of my normal class and college time. And then most mornings about 5:30, 6 o'clock, we'd get up, we'd start tracking at that point in time, and then track until classes started in the morning and the evening. Then it was environmental exposure time. So I was very lucky to have a mentor who spent a lot of time. And by the time I had graduated with my bachelor's degree, I'd done 5 green dogs from start to finish that were all sold to departments. And then I ended up staying there for about a year. He convinced me to adjunct teach for about a year. So I did that for a little bit, and then got stolen up into the service dog sector breeding program stuff. So I went over that way for a little while. But yeah, that was my brief kind of how I got into college and then how I stayed in college.
Well, and it's interesting to me, which that whole story now explains to me why you have very pointy, floppy ears.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because
yes,
the best kind.
They are the best kind. And it's fun because for those of you that follow my breeding program, I went to Kate and got Mako, who is a very pointy, floppy-eared dog.
He's an awesome little puppy.
Yeah,
awesome little puppy.
He's a jerk, but I love him.
He's
Sounds
still an
about
awesome
right.
little puppy.
Yeah. So they have an edge to them.
Yes. Yes.
And that edge for some of what for the working dog world is actually really required.
Yes. And it definitely comes from that influence of having someone, my mentor in that was a pointy-eared person. And so that's when we were doing selection, testing, all of that on baby dogs. That definitely was in play.
And so that's actually a really good question. When you're doing selection testing on baby dogs, what's one of the things that you look for that pointy piece on your floppies? Or is it a feel?
It's a feel. It's the twitch. You know it. And we talk about it's the twitch.
Fast twitch?
Fast twitch. We look at it in pointies, and we don't always, certain sports don't need that fast twitch. So there's some sports that really require a very twitchy dog. There's some sports that require a less twitchy dog. Like I have a shepherd who does American Schutzhund, who's a fun boy. He's not a fast twitch dog. Very powerful, very civil, not a fast twitch. My friends who play a lot of Mondio and stuff, we typically have a little bit quicker of a twitch. We don't talk about that in the floppies. And I think a lot of times we're looking for, okay, the dog is really toy driven or it's really motivated, which is super. For me, though, a lot of my dogs are ending up in agencies that are traditionally pointy-eared agencies that are moving over to floppy-eared detection dogs just because of the political climate or the world we live in now. And so most of those are still working through a very pointy-eared based program. And we're trying to provide a dog that is not going to be this huge shift from going from your pointy-eared dog and your pointy-eared training program to having to go to a lab. So yeah, one of the things I'm looking at in puppies, and it is totally a feel, but a puppy who at 8 weeks, I don't really care how much they even tug. I don't care a whole ton if they want to play fetch a ton. But there's just that kind of twitch and edge you can see in some of them where they're quick to respond, they're intense and powerful in their responses. And that often can build into something pretty cool.
I think as you're talking about twitch, right? I think our nomenclature kind of here on the podcast for our listeners, we talk about that as arousal.
Yep. Well, and see, I go with arousal. I will.
Yay.
Yeah,
Okay.
So I go with arousal.
Go with that.
But I will say, I am very, that brings up a very good point. So when I'm selecting a dog, and in puppies, we don't always see it occasionally, but especially that older 4 months and up, I do not actually love a super high arousal dog. I don't want a dog who is inefficient in the work it does. I want a dog who can keep and maintain a very clear head, who can make appropriate decisions, who can think while they're working. So I don't necessarily want a high arousal dog. And a lot of times I will say the twitch, yes, could look and manifest like arousal, but I want to see, are the motions and are the actions the dog is doing, are they efficient and are they purposeful? I don't need fizzy energy and I don't like fizzy energy. But if that dog is acting in a powerful, purposeful manner with intention, with efficiency, that's really cool. And that a lot of times is those dogs who have, maybe with the toy, some big, powerful reactions. But is it ending towards, is it moving towards their end goal or is it just fizzy displacing energy?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's got the drive to back it up.
Yep.
I keep picturing Powder in my head when she's talking about twitch. Definitely lots of
twitch.
Yes. Very high twitch dog. But she's got kind of like what you're talking about where it's purposeful.
Yep.
There's a lot of arousal there too, but it's not that kind of fizzy arousal.
Yeah.
For me, I'm always kind of I like the words you're using because I'm always kind of trying to think about arousal and drive. And like in my head, I'm like, if I keep the drive higher than the arousal, I can focus that. That's more like when the arousal is high enough, but it's not overtaking drive. That's kind of like, I think I would like the twitch.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's, in older dogs, I'm not necessarily seeing it as much, but those 8 week, 6-week-old, 8-week-old puppies, when we're looking at that, I want to see a dog that if it's going to acts in a very intense and purposeful way, because all of the different tasks are going to require different things. Right before here, I was actually working with an agency who's going to be getting an electronics dog. They prefer something much lower arousal, much slower search speed. We're looking for very, very small amounts of odor. That dog is going to look a little different than our, either our big ranging wilderness dog that we have out in Montana and Colorado, those places, or even my HR dog that my current one I work personally. We do a lot of small scale detailing stuff, a lot of evidentiary type searching. So lots of small things, but I need her to sniff with a very high frequency and I need her to be very intense or else we're going to be missing things. So I need a lot of intensity in the work. I just don't need her to be running 4 laps around the room before she's searching. That intensity has to be very well focused and managed.
So do you find that, like with her, did you teach her to do that or did she come that way?
That's a good question. I think some of it is definitely through both pieces, genetics and environment. So we knew arousal, or I knew with this dog. So Tenet, who is my current dog, she is a lot of dog, and everyone who's met her can attribute. She is a lot of dog, and she is a very pointy type lab. But we managed her from a young age. There was no need we don't need to build any arousal into anything we're doing. Everything we were doing with her from the start was a lot of calm starts, calm focus, small scale stuff, keeping her brain in the right spot and starting from the time we had started her on odor and even before, maintaining the appropriate kind of emotional attitude towards working. We did not need to push her into a state of high arousal. And so we managed that very carefully when she was younger. And then I think a piece of it too is genetic. So she was exactly what I was hoping for, which doesn't always happen, but she was from that breeding where I got a lot of her mother, who's taboo. So a lot of that really purposeful, efficient, clear-headed energy with just a titch more kind of flash that I got from bugs, which worked out really nicely. So we knew that there was the potential to have a higher arousal dog in there. We managed that from a young age, and just we let maturity do its thing. I think so often we get into, we're trying to build a puppy. Genetics tell us how high that dog is going to be built. And a lot of times we just need to sit there and wait for it to kick in. And then I will have puppy people who go, okay, like, they're doing so well with the toy now, or they're playing really nicely. I'm like, just wait. At 18 months, you're going to hit a whole nother gear. At 12 months, you're going to hit a whole nother gear. And it's just going to look different. It's going to feel different. And you can't force it. It just comes when it comes. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, the podcast land can't see me.
Yeah. Robin and I have talked about this a lot.
But I'm doing a whole preach
Yes.
symbols back here because as I have puppies who are going out, and I keep telling people at 18 months, you're going to see some toy stuff kick in. Give them time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And don't build all this crazy arousal into it before that. You can end up with a messy picture. Yeah.
And because it'll all come, build all the little foundation pieces you need to get the dog where you want it to be. And then at 18 months, stuff just starts solidifying and it'll come. And everything will kind of kick up a notch.
Yep.
And I was having a conversation with a whole different handler of, we get in such a rush.
Yes.
And just let them be puppies.
Mm-hmm.
Teach them how to learn and environmentals.
Yes.
By the way, congratulations on Tenet's litter.
I know.
Thank you. Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Miracle litter there. That's a whole story in and of itself. But we have those puppies, which is very exciting.
Is that the city's litter?
No. So the city's litter is our current domestic breeding initiative litter. So that's SA to a dog named Edge. So Edge is a HR dog. I bred him. He's out my way. And then SA is a very heavily bred field trial bitch. So this should be a very nice kind of DBI litter. And again, when we're talking about maturity time points, right? So we do always have to keep in mind that we need slightly different dogs for slightly different projects. For my domestic breeding initiative project, I know that those dogs will be getting tested for procurement by agencies like TSA at approximately 12 months. We know what that test looks like. We know the kind of dog they want. We know that they want a little bit higher arousal, that they want a lot of possession, that they need to see some really solid toy stuff at 12 months. So when we're planning a litter for them, we are looking at genetics to go, okay, we know there are certain lines that are going to mature a little bit more quickly. I know I have certain lines who at 12 months are going to really look solid on toys and possession and be very strong, intense dogs that way. I have some other lines that I will say probably in the long run are going to become a more effective and a more enjoyable to work detection dog. But at 12 months, they're still going to need some time. They're going to look better at 18 months or 24 months. But I need, with the way different projects and contracts work, if I need to have dogs tested at 12 months, then we need to be breeding that litter that with the expectation that at 12 months, they should be mentally able to get started in a program.
And for those people who don't understand or think about those of us who do breeding, and Kate's like several years ahead in a breeding program than I am, as lines, maturity factors in lines, you understand by talking to breeders who've come before you, who've watched dogs who've stood on the line. And when we talk about standing on the line for like your Labradors, they've watched a field trial line dog stand on a line.
Yes.
And you've seen or you've heard what their progeny has done. And certain dogs are screamers. And certain dogs have high arousals, or certain dogs are hard and are jerks. And what they throw.
Absolutely.
And so you study pedigrees. I mean, that's one of the ways I fall asleep at night is I study hunting lab pedigree.
Oh, absolutely. And for me, it's always looking for some of those obscure, often a little more obscure or lines that are going to be fitting what I'm looking for from a detection profile, because the detection profile that I'm often looking for is a little bit different than I think what is rewarded in a lot of our modern field trial schemes, which is all good. But as sports, any sport evolves, and especially as training improves and everything like that, and the field trial trainers, so many of them are phenomenal trainers. The sport, it's a competitive sport, has to morph and evolve and get harder and start to pick out certain attributes and trends that it rewards through different periods of time. If we look at what field trials right now look like versus field trials in the 80s and even early 90s and even early 2000s, the whole setups are going to be, they're going to be very different. And the things that the judges are rewarding are going to be very different. And then, because often it's just how it goes, the dogs that are rewarded by judges are the ones who get titled, are the ones who get bred, and those are the lines that we see. And so sometimes that's for the best. And I think when we're looking at detection, sometimes we just need to look at, is a dog who's winning in this game going to have the traits or likely to have the traits that I need for detection? Or is it possible that a dog who, like you said, might be maybe a little harder, or, when we've got some of our agencies that are looking for a floppy ear to have such strong possession, some of our dogs that may be that kind of harder, a little bit tougher dog, maybe those are what I'm looking for a little bit more. Those dogs aren't winning field trials. They're not getting titled. They're not getting bred, but they're still out there. They don't go away. We just have to figure out where they are. And that really does come, though, from talking to people in the game, watching the game, being out there. It's can't picture it unless you see it.
Well, and it's been a really interesting thought for me, because even the FEMA system in general, one of the things that we have in the FEMA system is you can't deploy a female in heat for obvious reasons, right?
Right.
So what are we automatically doing? We are spaying all of our females that are in the FEMA system, which are technically the females that we should be breeding.
Absolutely.
Right? So that knocks all of those females out of the breeding pool. So how does that actually then perpetuate the gene pool for the dogs that we should be breeding? And that started getting me thinking on even Flash. Is Flash a dog? She has all of, the only thing she couldn't do was bark, because I taught her to do other things instead. But she's got all of the environmentals to do it. And I was like, is FEMA really her best job? Because the first thing I might want to do is get her spayed.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. And that's for me, right? Like we've got right now 8 bitches in breeding ages who have gotten their clearances. So 1 or 2 hasn't had a litter yet, but others that are kind of in our program right now that I would say are like active broods in our program. If I had all of those with me, there's no way they'd be working. No way at all. Because I can't work 8 dogs, not to the level that they need. I mean, I can exercise 8 dogs. I can kind of train 8 dogs, but I'm not working and deploying 8 dogs. I have 1 that lives with me, and actually 1 younger one who lives with me. The rest are all with handlers doing jobs. Now, for me, I will put a dog who should be kind of FEMA level and all of that. It is often worth it to go, okay, this dog might not be out there on that system, but if she can produce 5 of herself that can go be out there, then that is worth it.
Right.
So I'm very lucky to have some awesome wilderness handlers and other kind of handlers around me who are willing to take on these girls. We have some really easy agreements. I'm really lucky to have awesome people who are so willing and generous to do that. It poses its challenges with breeding for sure. We're always looking at, okay, I have a girl right now who should be coming into heat anytime, but she's also got a big project beginning in November. So it's okay. If she comes in heat at this day, we can breed her. If she goes in heat before then, we're not going to be able to breed her.
Right.
So there's always that. But for me, that is worth weighing out and going, okay, the priority is the dog is out there working, being successful, doing the thing that they should be doing. We'll breed them when it's convenient.
Yeah. And it's hard because it really kind of takes them off the roster for up to 6 months.
Yeah. When we're breeding, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a big time out.
It's a big time out. And it's just, I mean, I'm only saying this because recently kind of went through this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly didn't realize like how long it would take. Of course, we also had other kinds of, we
Yeah.
had some other hiccups with that, but yeah, it's a big commitment, a huge commitment.
And even like Bristol is off, because you're right. You only have so much time. So Bristol's off at a trainer, right? And the trainer asked me, because I only have so much time. And I'm like, I do not have time to learn a new game. And Bristol, her breeding and what she wants to do is pick up birds. So I'm like, you're off doing hunt test stuff. And he asked me, he's like, do you want her back this fall to breed her? I'm like, no, for me right now, it's more important that she go get her titles. I will breed her next fall. You know what? It's fine. Flash is hopefully bred. I can.
Good.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed that everything worked. We don't know.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Right.
Hard.
Always,
Waiting's
hey,
hard.
should be.
Yeah. It's one of those things when you have one failed breeding, now everything is kind of like,
Oof.
Mother Nature does not help you.
Oof. No. And once you have, I mean, my goodness, and this is a whole wormhole in of itself, but we had a very traumatic litter earlier this year that was horrendous and awful and all of the things. But my anxiety level with our current puppies, for no good reason, is
Through the roof.
It's like barely manageable right now. Yeah. Like it's not good. And it's not rational, and it's not,
but it's predictable, and you're a human being, and that's, that's a normal response. So.
My very first litter, I ended up, I think I know what happened, but the cleaning protocols that I now use on every subsequent litter is probably overkill, but it so doesn't matter to me.
Nope.
This is what we're doing, and this is how it works.
And I get it. I mean, with Prize being so sick after C-section and
well, and then being allergic to sutures.
Oh yeah, and then the suture reaction on top of it, and just that was just like bonus actually.
Yeah,
bonus.
Right.
But I'm just like at the end, I'm like, okay, I have a healthy girl, and I have a really nice puppy. So it was. Now I can say, okay, it was worth it. But that was one of the hardest things I've gone through. And going through it, like everybody just kept saying, oh, breeding's not for the faint of heart. I'm like, would you quit jinxing me? Just stop.
Stop it.
That.
Right.
Please. You're going to just like all this pile. Well, breeding's not for the faint. I'm just stop already. She's bred. Like we're
in it.
Turning back now. So just stop. Right.
Right.
And I really developed a whole appreciation for breeders through that process, and for the losses that sometimes happen. And
it's nutty. It comes with, you get the highest highs, and then when it's bad, it's bad.
It's bad.
So,
yeah.
Yep.
So as someone who is very much established in you've got Katalyst, I'm going to say established, right? You've got a business.
Yeah.
Right. You've got a breeding business, you've got a boarding, training, kennel business, all sorts of stuff. Because I'm sure you get them. I get them. Hey, I want to be a dog trainer.
Absolutely.
Right. Yep. What's that advice for that person that wants to do that?
Go out and start doing it. We talk to people regularly on that front who, okay, I want to start training. I want to start whatever. Get a dog, take the dog you have, start training. Do it yourself. Yes, the client dogs will come, the other pieces will come, but get yourself out there, especially if you're in a community where dog sports are prevalent, or there is ability and access to go and do, even if you start in pet obedience classes and then go over to competition obedience classes and then find you like rally or agility, the people you meet and the trainers you will meet are the type of people that can really build skills that are very useful as you move into training, whether it's just normal pet clientele or whether it's sport handlers. And so getting out there and doing it and putting the mileage in, the most successful young trainers and handlers I've seen are the ones who are out there just soaking all of it up and putting in the extra effort. The ones who are going to seminars, then the ones who are talking to those instructors, who are kind of glomming onto them, who are going to trainings, who are helping out. You are going to be a bucket bitch. I was a bucket bitch for years. Like, you are going to be going, you are going to be taking care of their dog. You are going to be traveling around. You are doing the grunt work. we've all got to pay our dues, and that's where it comes from. But by doing that, you learn so much about what goes on behind the scenes in training, and you get so much hands-on exposure to the process. It is very hard, I think, to capture it in a specific setting within a training program or a university or educational based program. And we regularly have trainers who come to us after graduating from like an education type program. And there's always, unless they're really out there putting in the extra time, that's kind of that off the clock time, there's usually pieces that are missing. I can have people with great dog training mechanical skills, but that may not have the people skills or the client communication skills. On the flip side, I've gotten some people who are awesome at talking to people, awesome at explaining things, but don't have the hands-on exposure. I had one trainer who came to me who had graduated from a program and was looking to start her own training business. And every dog we'd pull out of the kennel to go load in the van and go training or something like that, she'd go, "Is it going to bite me? Is it going to bite me?" And I'd go, "Yeah, I don't know. You look at the dog and you tell me if it's going to bite you. I don't know the dog any better than you do. We got to figure it out." But those kind of down and dirty handling skills are where you learn so much. And even when I look at what I got out of the Greubel skill program, and it was before it was a formal canine program, my classes that I had taken, my 15 or 18 credits a semester, yes, they can teach you the theory, the vocabulary, the language. They can teach you some of the mechanical and hands-on skill. But I will say by far and large, I got more education out of those 5:30 to 8 o'clock in the morning tracking sessions, or those sessions in the evening where we're taking dogs through the dairy barn and just working on environmentals and watching someone do it themselves. And being able to have that exposure is huge. And when we get into, sometimes I think younger people getting into the industry, they go, "Okay, well, how do I get involved with that?" You just have to act interested. If I have an intern or someone like that, and we've had quite a few, some, let's say we're whelping in the middle of the night, are interested and they are there and they are wanting to soak up every piece of it. And then I have some who go, "All right, well, it's 1 a.m. now, so I'm going to go up to bed." And you only learn through the things you can be there for. I'm not going to beg someone to come learn. If you want to come down and do it, I am happy to share all the knowledge I have, but I'm not going to beg you to teach you. You have to show the interest. You have to show the enthusiasm. If you're passionate and you want it and you're hungry for it, trainers will respond. The dog industry likes sharing knowledge. We like teaching young people, but you got to be hungry and you got to show up, and it's not going to be convenient, and it's not going to be at easy times, and it's going to be a pain in the butt, and you're going to be tired,
and you're going to be dirty, and you're going to be bloody.
Oh my God. Yes. And you're going to be doing some of the grunt work, and that's okay. That's what that role is. And you learn so much from that. But yeah.
One of the things that I've had a lot of people to, "Oh my God, being a breeder must be so rewarding." I'm like, it is rewarding, but I hate to tell you about the 3 weeks of no sleep that you get.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Zero sleep.
No sleep.
Zero.
I have my human child is 1.5. And so he's all kinds of fun and interactive and all that. We've got, I've got a litter that's going to be 4 weeks old in a couple of days, and then a litter who just turned a week old. So we've got these two back to back. I have not slept in my normal bed, in almost 3 weeks. And so finding the time and making the time to do, spending time with the little one and not feeling guilty that I'm not doing enough of that. And then also spending time with my own dog and spending time with my husband and spending time with family. It's such a balancing act, and it's tough, but it's how it goes. It's what we sign up for.
And I think it's interesting because I people have heard me talk about farm stuff, and I'm like, I'm done with drama.
Oh yeah.
So what do? I breed, right? And I'm like, because I get my drama through farm stuff and breeding. And so then I have a very little tolerance for people drama.
Yeah. So Robin texted me last night, and it's a nighttime video of her in a mule basically herding
a cow,
a red-belted Galloway, saying, "Do you miss the farm drama? We thought she might be having a hard time calving, so we're getting her back to the
barn at," and I'm like, 9
yes,
p.m.
Actually, I do miss the farm, Yeah. And then I saw the picture of the baby this morning.
Yeah, so she had a baby just fine.
But yeah, I got it.
Yeah, that balance piece, and you are going back to, okay, as I watch the puppy drag the broom through the floor. Yeah.
My puppy's in a crate right now.
No, I've got the youngest one.
Although he's growing out of it rapidly.
Goodness, he's going to be a horse.
He is.
He's a horse. He is a horse.
A Raven's currently trying to sweep the floor with the wrong end of the broom.
She's going to sweep it.
Yeah. But the balance of the puppies and trying then to teach and deploy with a dog. And I don't have a staff like you have a staff.
And there is no way I could do it without them. My God. Nope. I'm already. It's when we look at training, it's not a 40-hour-a-week job. Like
No.
we don't even need to talk about how many hours are in it constantly, because no one would feel good about that at the end of the day. But yeah, no, it's almost impossible. And it's such a hard balancing act because you always feel like you're neglecting something. You give something all of this, and then it feels like something else is slipping. And that feeling is always a constant bit of, at least for me, constant kind of hum of anxiety. But, we always go back to, okay, if we're feeling that way, then that means we care. And so that's good. And it would probably be more of a problem if we didn't care about the things that were slipping. So do the best we can.
I had somebody ask me, it was actually my brother, asked me the other day, he's like, how many hours a week do you work? And I looked at him and I said, that was really cute. It's probably more like, how many hours a week do I not work?
Very much so. Yep.
Because when you have livestock, you have dogs, and you are self-employed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of layer all of that stuff on top of each other.
Yes.
And then you choose to procreate the livestock.
Yep.
Right.
Or procreate yourself. That just adds a whole,
right.
There's a whole. Yeah.
It just kind of gets weird. Yeah.
Oh, yes. No, but that also brings up that circling back around to people who want to get involved and want to learn and become trainers. Those of us who are out there who are doing it, we are doing it constantly. And a lot of times I don't have the time in the middle of my 9 to 5 day to break down a huge teaching session, but I am doing that at 8:00 at night. And I would love company, and I would love someone to be sitting along with me and helping me out. And so for those people interested, finding the people and going, okay, yes, it might not be a convenient schedule, but you have time to track it. We have a few young dogs we're starting for tracking. They're all heading out soon to go to agencies, but we usually start tracking at 5 a.m, 5:30. We get out there. Anyone who wants to come would be more than welcome to come tracking with us then. Do we usually get many people and takers? No, because it's 5 a.m. and it's dark and it's cold and it's damp and it's whatever. But that's when the stuff happens. And so for those of us out there working those crazy weeks, the opportunities are there for people who want to learn. You just might have to do a little bit of weird scheduling to make it happen.
The number of training discussions I have with my interns when we're driving in the car, right? On our way, actually from Walmart.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or something, when it's just a random thing, or it's not even when we're setting out training aids and stuff like that. Or it is at 12:00 at night when we're waiting for a bitch to whelp. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what's going on.
Absolutely.
If you went to bed, we're not having that discussion.
Nope. No. And it's not anything against anybody, but it's, an industry where, yes, there is a lot of very important knowledge that comes from books and academics, a ton. And the research we're doing in the fields right now are huge. You can gain so much from that, but you need to put the miles on. You need to get your hands on. And to do that, you got to work through the times when that's happening and put yourself in places where that is happening.
Right. Absolutely. All right. We usually do takeaways.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. We usually do takeaways. And what we could do is
We'll go first.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sitting here going, oh man. What an amazing, I'm sorry. This has just been an amazing conversation. And it's just like, it's a different perspective on some of the things that we've kind of talked on the edges of in a lot of the podcasts, but really kind of talking about some of these, and specifically, this is a different episode than I think we've had before, which is really exciting. I'm just really excited that we had you on and everything. And what really impresses me is the degree of dedication And this is not, and just kind of like piggybacking on the conversation that we just had, where the industry and getting into either being a dog trainer, or if you're going to be a breeder, or if you're going to, whatever you're doing, this is not an easy path. And I think this conversation that we've had just it really highlights that. There's a lot of ups and there can also be some downs. Sometimes the downs are pretty down, but the ups can be really, really up. But it's a lot of hard work. And I think hopefully one of the takeaways that our listeners also have is appreciation for what goes into a breeding program and a training program and how much dedication and blood, sweat, and tears goes into it. So that's a takeaway I want to try to highlight. And I also want to say a big thank you. So,
yeah. My takeaway is the thoughtfulness of your specialization within your business, right? Because I think that's one of those things that a lot of people say, I want to be a dog trainer, and they think it's all about being a dog trainer. Well, guess what? Unless you understand the business side of being a dog trainer,
yeah,
right? You don't make money.
No.
Right. And I remember one of the conversations we had a while ago, you said that the commercial boarding and training business subsidizes the breeding program.
Absolutely. It subsidizes the things that breeding can be great. We can have a great year. We can have a great time. We can have years where I have a singleton, a litter of 2, something like that. Or we have very tragic things happen. And unfortunately, I always feel if we're having to make decisions based on the welfare of the dog due to finances, then that would be a really tough spot for me. And so it's something that ethically gets very hard to do. I had a puppy break his jaw on an X-Pen. That was like $15,000 worth of surgery. Is that dog making that back by the time he's all said and done? No. But he can have a normal, healthy life if we do this, and he's going to go on to be able to have a full career. If I didn't have necessarily the pet side or the commercial side to be able to say, okay, yes, we can do that. We have the money to do that. No, that's going to be a poor business decision if we were just looking at the working dog side of things. But on our, can we sleep with ourselves? Can we feel good about things at the end of the night? Yeah, we can pull money from there to put over to there. Sometimes the working dog side of it is great. Sometimes we need to make decisions on dogs to either wash them or put them in alternative careers. If we have that financial pressure of, I need to make this dog work and sell this dog, is that really always in the best interest of the dog? Is that in the best interest of our business, our reputation? So for us, it's been we're very lucky and fortunate to have a successful and profitable pet side of the business that we can feel comfortable about that kind of income coming in, and that income can be used to subsidize when needed the working dog side of it.
I've had a lot of people who've asked me that, and I'm like, if you want to open a dog training business, go to business school.
Yeah.
Right? Do the dog training stuff on the side.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you need to know how to run a business.
Yeah.
And so that's always been somewhat interesting. So I watch and lurk on your stuff a lot.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Same.
That's so fun. Thank you guys so much for having me on, because it's so validating to hear from other people who are doing it and breeding and raising dogs and all of that, that we all go through the highs and lows, because it feels very isolating sometimes when you're in them. And so it's really nice to be able to talk with others who go, yes, this is just part of the industry that we are in. And so that's so validating for me. And just, there's so many people, young people who want to get into the industry, and the demand is there. We are never going to meet the demand for pet dog trainers or for good, solid, young green dogs that are going to be able to go to agencies. There may not be the most specific 9-to-5 path to be able to just learn how to do that. You are going to have to put in the extra work, but people want to teach. They want to share that knowledge. So it exists.
Awesome. Everybody, thank you so much for listening in. Kate, thank you for spending some time with us. We're going to include all of where you can find Kate and Katalyst Kennels in the show notes. so that you can stalk her page. So when she's looking for staff and an intern,
Yes.
you can go find her. And if you're looking for a good place and daycare and all sorts of things for your dog, and you're out in her neck of the woods, or you're looking for green dogs, you can look for her or look for me. Look for her first, because I don't have any at the moment. So
everything we have is under contract at the moment. So
well, there you go.
But
so good luck.
Good.
Yeah.
Right.
We need more people to do this, though.
Yeah,
absolutely, because that is
exactly.
a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, and go train.
Canine Detection Collaborative.
We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to k9detectioncollaborative.com. That's K9detectioncollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.